Celtics up by 5, just past the midway point. First, oh, big finish! Robert Williams on a special delivery.
Pass stolen by Holiday. Holiday to the Grupo, right back to Holiday. I love it. Too strong. Pritchard with the offensive rebound. Back to Smart. It's good.
Big time trade in the NBA as training camps begin all over. The Boston Celtics are trading Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, a 2024 Golden State first-round pick, a 2029 unprotected Boston first-round pick, all to the Portland Trail Blazers to obtain, you guessed it, JRUE Holiday, who had recently been traded from Milwaukee over to Portland. The Blazers had let it be known that JRUE was available, and they had plans on trading him very, very soon. The Celtics were among the teams at the very top of JRUE's wish list in the recent days, and the expectation is Boston's going to try to keep JRUE around as long as they can. Now, JRUE only has 1 year left on his deal, and he's been very vocal about retiring after his deal is complete. Again, sometimes you can get that chip on your shoulder. You can kind of get that battery recharged in your back. I mean, obviously the Milwaukee Bucks trading JRUE, I'm sure that wasn't in his plans. So maybe JRUE decides to sign a short-term 2-year extension to be a part of a Boston regime that has been very much so relevant over the last few years out east. Well, I want to focus on Boston for this segment because I do believe this is a home run get for the Celtics. Look, personally, I had to see the Kristaps Porzingis thing play out. You know, he could have been a better talent than Marcus Smart on the court. He could have meant more to Boston on the court. I just would have had to see it because, again, Kristaps could have easily come in and, hell, for all I care, he could have came in and gave you 18 and 12 a night. But to be better than Marcus Smart, you got to bring a lot to the table. Obviously, look, we got to start breaking down realities of the NBA. Like Kristaps Porzingis, I have not heard much about him being a vocal leader. He's not from the United States. When we start talking about who's making an impact in the locker room, you got to look at what the Celtics got as a team. I mean, I'm looking at guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They're both very reserved guys. I've met both of these guys, you know, throughout my career. They're kind of reserved guys, not saying behind the scenes that they don't talk and give it up amongst their peers. I'm telling you what I've seen from them and meeting both of the gentlemen. They're very reserved guys. And Marcus Smart was a guy that balanced out. Marcus Smart is not a reserved guy. He come in and turn your locker room up. You know, keep in mind, Marcus, though still very much a young guy, Marcus had been around Boston probably as long as anybody. Right? Celtics still a young team, fairly speaking. They're really good, so there's a lot of roster overhaul year in, year out. You building around two guys that are going to be making $60-65 million. It's going to be tough to keep people around that. And when you got Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart had been one of those fixtures that had been around, a vocal guy, a leader. So my thing had been, I got to see Porzingis not only score, but he's got to be so good at scoring and rebounding and, more importantly, impacting the game that it weighs more than what all Marcus brought to the table. We're talking about a guy that's on the ground for every loose ball. We're talking about a guy that literally painted his hair green to match the energy and the passion that he had given that Celtics fan base that clearly wasn't happy about losing him. I think everything now is forgiven to Brad Stevens in that Boston front office when you go out and bring in a guy like JRUE Holiday. For everything Marcus Smart brought to the table, on the court at least, 1,000% JRUE Holiday brings that to the table. And you do hear good things about JRUE Holiday. You know, he's not a vocal guy, as much as you would like either. But they say behind the scenes, JRUE does lead in his own ways. They say in practices, he's a very vocal guy. Obviously, he's one of the best defenders I've seen on the perimeter in a long time, maybe ever, with moving his feet and moving his arms and elbows and not committing fouls. So you're bringing that guy in. And look, I love Jaylen Brown and I love Jason Tatum, but there's definitely still things that can be learned defensively for these guys. And again, there's nobody better in the NBA on the perimeter defending than JRUE Holiday. You bringing him in around that. Now I'm looking at this trade that the Celtics made, Smart, Porzingis, obviously the Wizards and Memphis included in that 3-team trade. Now I'm looking at it differently. Because now we're pretty much saying we flip Marcus Smart and Robert Williams for Kristaps Porzingis and JRUE Holiday. Obviously, I know, Malcolm Brogdon was a part of the deal and some picks and all that great stuff, but the big pieces to the puzzle are Marcus Smart and Robert Williams. And speaking of Robert Williams, because I know Time Lord has a lot of fans out there, I saw Kendrick Perkins, the former Celtic, saying, I cannot believe the Celtics are trading Time Lord. I'm summarizing there. Listen, man, I know Time Lord has a brand, and he's another fan favorite in Boston. But look, we got to start telling the truth about things. Robert Williams is an incredible athlete, but he is also very limited offensively. If I got an opportunity to bring in JRUE Holiday, a guy that's not only a great defender, which you can say Robert Williams is somewhere near JRUE, defending the paint as JRUE is on the perimeter, maybe you can make that comparison. These two guys are not even comparable when we talk about offensive skill sets. I hope I'm making myself clear. JRUE Holiday has turned himself into not only a guy that you bring in to be a two guard, he's turned himself into a point guard that's running your offense now, give you 19, 22 points a game. He's way more valuable than having Robert Williams. So anybody out there that loves him some Time Lord, no disrespect to you, but you got JRUE Holiday, damn it. You upgraded. You should be happy with that. You'll find another athletic big in the free agent market. Hell, go sign Dwight Howard. He's about 75% of what Robert Williams is, and Dwight's in his mid-30s. You'll be fine, Boston. You got better on the perimeter, and I think this trade really covers Brad Stevens' tracks for that very bad, it didn't go over well trading Marcus Smart for Kristaps Porzingis, and I think you rebounded well bringing in JRUE Holiday now to be your starting point guard, your primary defender.
I want to salute you, homie, for building your own thing and doing your own thing.
Why build theirs when I believe I can build my own?
You've already done it, or I wouldn't be here.
I'm already the only elite sports and music journalist in the game today. My goal is simple, to be the best there's ever been. So, please don't go. Make sure you subscribe and follow the journey. It truly means everything to me. I tell stories. I talk music. I cover sports. I am culture. I am FERRO.